A dyeing and finishing plant processes raw gray goods into a finished product by dyeing and finishing the goods to specifications of a converter who buys and sells finished cloth.
What is finishing when it's not printing or dyeing?
Finishing is a division that does outerwear fabrics, linings, and for clothes, outerwear, your jackets, your rainwear, water repellent, and goods like that.
You mean sort of Scotch guard, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we can do that also. Yeah, anything like that. Outerwear in nylon field is basically our function here. We do excellent nylon work, as a lot of dyeing and finishing plants do. But there are many variations of dyeing and finishing. They have corduroy, they have other that do all kinds of goods.
How many different types of jobs would there be in a factory like this?
Well, classification of jobs, which is basically in a union shop, they have all kind of classification. You have a guy that's he runs as in this department here, he runs a beaming operator. In other words, he takes the rolls as they come in from the gray mill and puts them in certain batch sizes so when they're used in the plant, they're run through on a function procedure so that you get the most yardage on a particular roll for a customer. This gentleman right here, it looks like he's running some nylons that's going to be done in outerwear. Now he'll do it in maybe 4,000 yard batches or maybe 2,500 yard batches, whatever the size of the batch that the cloth can be processed properly on.
So he's sewing together shorter rolls to make a long roll for processing.
Right,
now, does this then get divided back into shorter rolls when you're through?
It's cut, yes, as we'll go through in the end of when we finish up in the makeup department, goods are cut up either by the original cuts they come in from the gray mill or specific customer needs.
Could you explain the term gray mill?
A gray mill is like Derry Milliken or Dan River, your big ones in the United States, and there are a lot of foreign ones who weave raw materials into a cloth fabric. You have rayon, you have acetates, you have all types of nylons, and that's basically what they do. They take either synthetic goods or raw fabrics and make them into cloth.
Someone who works in either the dyeing or the printing, someone who stays with that process more or less indefinitely, or can they learn both and shift back and forth?
The opportunity for them to learn anything in this plant, all they have to do is ask, and they more or less, if they want to run a palmer, if they want to run a gray, if they want to learn how to be a dyer, I'm sure that the opportunity is here for anybody that wants to advance himself in the textile industry.
How much training does somebody have to come in and run one of these machines?
To run one of these machines, I'd imagine just a matter of, watching an individual and learning just like anything else.
So most companies would provide on-the-job training?
Sure. That's basically where you get most of your help. A guy comes off the street, he wants a job, and if he's lucky enough to get hired in a particular plant, of course he has to watch an individual do the job, and then he's put on a trial basis like anywhere else. If he can perform the job and do it to the best of his ability and to the satisfaction of the employer, sure.
Do people rotate jobs?
No. Basically, they stay in their own job classification unless they want to change or they have to. But it's good to know if you're in a different department or say in this department. It's good to know everybody's job, because the guys are out and what have you.
You can cover for each other.
Sure. This is the print department where right now we're watching a RD4, which is a rotary printing machine by Stork. As you can see, the gray product is fed into the machine, the rotary, and this is a 6-color print where each individual screen has its own characters and lays the color on the fabric and cloth. This machine is one of the most advanced printing machines that is in the industry right now. It can go up to a 12-color to 15-color printing. The color is pumped into each cylinder and screen and laid on the cloth. On this particular job, it's done by printers and printers assistants. who, after maybe 1 or 2 years training, are good printers. And good printers are hard to come by in the industry today. It takes, this machine goes at roughly about 50, 60 yards a minute. Can print up to 250,000 yards a week, depending on how much you run. I go up to 15 colors, and here we have 2 of them. This is a die house in this particular plant, and we're now looking at jigs, which jig machines are die when the roll is going from one end to another and color is added from the head dyer. If he has to make an add to a color or detract to get the particular shade that a customer wants. A man will run basically 3 or 4 jigs at a time and going back and forth and watching the roll and taking die patches to the dyer. This process right here is one of the old processes of dyeing. Sometimes longer than a regular doing in a Burlington, which we will see a little later. These machines, dyeing is done with heat, basically, and color dye just like you would do on your washing machine almost. But these rolls go from one end to the other, and as you can see, a dip in the dye as it is in the bottom of the machine. Through control of heat and chemicals and adds and salts and what have you, this is probably one of the most difficult jobs in the industry for a man to operate machines, operate them properly, make the correct adds so the shade comes out properly and goods do not have to be rehandled. This is a job that can be learned through on-the-job training, and a lot of good men have spent a lot of time and good careers becoming dyers. Hey, this is a Burlington dyeing machine, which the process of goods are put on a Burlington dyeing shell. And as you can see by looking, it's like a big bathtub. The roll is set inside the casing here, and dye is pumped through the cylinder, which is a quicker and more efficient process in dyeing. At the beginning of our finishing frames, or palmers as they're known in the industry, at the beginning these goods are being dried before they're dipped in the specific chemicals and finish that are put in the cloth after it's dyed to give a customer his particular hand and finish. The goods are dried, they're coming over the top of the cans and into a little small vat that holds the chemicals where they are saturated and fed into the palmer where heat bakes the finish in. And as we go, we'll get at the end of the palmer and show you how it comes out. If it goes through a box at certain degree temperatures, 350 degrees, 400 degrees, some 450, depending on the type cloth.
How long have you been working here?
Oh, I've been here about 24 years, yeah.
Have you always had the same job?
No, I've been on different jobs.
Which do you like the best?
Well, they're all about the same, but I like this job right here. This is a nice job, yeah.
Do you have to watch very carefully to be sure that it's running
Oh,
properly?
yeah. Everything is going to be just right. Well watched pretty well.
What kind of thing might go wrong?
Well, the finish, you got to watch out the finish. The finish don't go bad on you. You got to look out for spots. Make sure everything is pretty good. We try to get out pretty good work, you know. Because if we do good work, we're going to get more orders. That's more better for us, you know.
What's it like working here in the summertime when it's hot?
Oh, we worked here the last couple of weeks. It was 110 degrees, 100 degrees. Yeah.
Does it seem cool when you get outside on a day
Oh,
like
it sure
that?
does. It might be 90 outside, but it's already cooler than in here.
But in the winter, it must be pretty good to work.
Oh, yeah, it's nice. Coming here in the winter when there's snow outside, you're just wondering about the guys that work outside. Yeah. It's a nice job. I've done it all my life.
Did you need any special training to get the job?
Well, not actually training, but you've been at it so long, after so many years, if you don't know it by then, you might as well give up. Yeah.
Did you learn it on the job then?
Yeah, I did all, mostly picking it up right on the job. Yeah.
Would you recommend that to a kid coming out of high school?
Yes, I would. It's a good trade. It's a good paying job, and it's a good trade.
This is a heat set frame, which is used by one man as a feeder where he feeds the cloth and makes sure the width is there, the cloth goes through. This machine is basically used in nothing but getting proper width for customers. Sometimes goods come out of the palmers, might come out 44 when they should be 45. They're sent to this machine to get the proper width before they go upstairs to make up. That's basically all the machine does. Okay, all right. Okay, here is a calendar machine, which its primary usage is to break up the finish that's put in the palmer and smooth out the goods. It gives the cloth the type hand and finish that the customer wants. This particular cloth that's running now, as you see, is a ripstop piece of material which is used for sleeping bags, parachutes, and your ski jackets. Through heat and pressure, it closes up the fibers of the cloth so that your air porosity, this amount of air that can be pushed through the cloth, will be at a limitation that a specific customer wants. This is basically the last finishing process in the industry as far as dyeing is concerned. Once it goes to the counter, the goods should be at the complete end of the process as far as preparation. Now we're in the final process of the dyeing and finishing and printing operation. After all processing, which you've seen earlier on this tape, is complete, a roll of goods is sent upstairs and wait until the customer okays a particular shade. It's then brought to one of these 22 machines, which goods are put on and cut up in pieces, on rolls, on tubes, on whatever the customer so specifies. 150-yard cuts, original gray good cuts, 200-yard cuts, or whatever. These machines go, they can do roughly 15, 16, sometimes 20,000 yards in a shift. It's the last process in this particular industry.
This looks sort of like the end of the line. What is happening here?
Well, the goods that were okayed after processing completely through the plant have been tubed up and they've been billed out and put into cartons where they're double strapped by this gentleman with packing memos, one on the inside and one on the outside, and the goods are either put in our packing hole or they're shipped out all over the country.
Are most of the people paid by the hour?
They are paid by the hour.
All of them?
Except for your supervisors. Supervisors or management people are generally salaried individuals, but the textile industry is a good paying industry.
But it's basically an hourly structure. It's not
yeah.
like piecework in the garment industry.
No, it's not. It's nothing like piecework. It's basically an hourly function. So,
would you like to expound on some of your feelings of the textile industry in Fall River, its future, and that sort of thing?
The industry in Fall River it has grown. At one time, Fall River was the garment capital of the world. And now, of course, times and economics have changed. But I think the industry will hold where it is right now in the particular plants. I don't know if there'll be any more growth as far as new plants coming into the area, but the ones that are here, I feel, will continue and give job opportunities to the people in the area. For a career in the textile business, you can go in here, and if you're bright and you've got the initiative, you can just go from one end of the industry to another. It doesn't necessarily mean you can come and work at a specific machine and stay there. If you want to, you can go on and you can go into management, you can do anything, because there's so many different things happen in the textile industry every day. It's a good career, and if an individual wants to learn it, as expressed by the people interviewed on this tape, that they like it and they enjoy it, and you can do a marvelous thing in this industry if you want to make a career out of it. I've made a career out of it and I enjoy it, and I'm sure most of the people here do.
Do you think that people coming in without anything more than a high school education can make as successful a career out of it as they might wish?
Well, in my opinion, education doesn't really have that much to do with it. It's basically knowledge of cloth, which you can learn on-the-job training. I mean, education doesn't mean that much in this particular industry. You can learn about cloth. You can't go to school to learn about cloth. It's something you have to handle it. So a guy says he wants an outerwear hand. You have to know the feel for it. There's nothing they can teach you in school. But, you know, education is good and it can help you, you know, no question about it. But you can learn this by on-the-job training, learn any particular operation here.
So motivation really has a great deal to do with it.
Motivation. If you like the job and you want to get ahead, there's nothing to hold you back in this industry.